Okay, today I'm talking facial shaving, and yes, there's a story behind this. I'm in a different country today, city, and you can guess. I'll give you hints along the way, but I'm talking facial shaving. This town I'm in is known for its hot springs, its Roman hot baths and saunas, and yes, I'm learning about cold dunking here. I'll give you more along this video, but what happened was I was at the Roman bath yesterday. A couple girls came up, I'm having lunch there, and said, "Hey, Rajani, we have a question." Now, I'm used to that. We get 10 million views a month to social media, and I'm used to people asking about what? PRF, about Sculptra, about faces that are overfilled. But what they asked was, hey, we come to these hot springs once a week, we shave our face. We used to come with a group of 7 women, and they had side effects from shaving. We want to know, are these true or are these myths? So I'm going to go through what they asked me yesterday. The first thing they asked was, hey, one of the girls stopped coming because her facial hair got darker. Could this happen? And of course, the number one reason why people are doing it are anti-aging, but there's also facial hair that can occur. Can it get darker if you shave? The answer is no, it will not get darker from shaving. Now, to understand this fully, you're going to need to understand the difference between vellus hair, or that peach fuzz, and terminal hair, which are the darker hairs. More on that in a moment. Now, by the way, this is one of my favorite breweries in this town. I come every time. Check it out. Gorgeous. Can terminal hair become vellus and vice versa? Can that peach fuzz become darker hair? They can cycle back and forth between peach fuzz and terminal darker hair, but shaving does not cause that process to occur. Look at this, that's the entrance. The best beer. In this country, there's another country I like the beer just about the same. And another hint for you, in this country, they have a month dedicated to beer. So we now know, look above me there, beautiful. We now know that it doesn't make your hair grow darker. Will it make your hair grow back thicker? The answer is no. Once again, most people are getting thicker hair because they start shaving, because they have those more terminal hairs that are darker, and that's because they're noticing more hair for other reasons, hormonal changes. They're noticing it from starting new testosterone pellets or pills, or starting birth control pills or other things that are going to change your hormones. So they're not getting more hair growth because of that. Now let's go into some alternatives for hair removal, and we'll also go into what this is going to do for your anti-aging and absorption of your products. So if you're having dark hair, a great alternative is laser hair removal. And of course, back in 2003, 2007, I had over 20 laser hair removal machines because it was new back then, and everyone wanted lasers to permanently get rid of hair. It doesn't permanently get rid of hair, however, it does do it for a long time. Typically, you need a touch-up every few years. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, in these Roman baths, are they true Roman baths? Well, you cannot wear your clothes in the baths. Now, I did get to talk to the sauna master. I never truly understood why, but I'll tell you later in the video exactly why they don't let you wear clothes in the baths or the sauna. So this might not be the place for everyone, but only really in America do people worry about those types of things. Maybe some other countries, but you get over it pretty quickly when you find out the wellness and the benefits of the baths. Now, understand there's 2 types of hair. There's vellus hair and there's terminal hair. Vellus hair is that peach fuzz. You just barely see it. It's along the face, the neck, sometimes in the forehead. And there's terminal hair. And terminal hair is that dark black hair. So the next thing they asked was, hey, what about the 5 o'clock shadow that one of our friends had noticed? So it's not going to cause a 5 o'clock shadow if you shave your face. And the reason is the terminal hairs, when you shave them, they were thin and wispy at the tail, at the end. They're now sharp and they're at the thickest point where they come out of your face. So people are shaving and they get the 5 o'clock shadow because of the hair that's seen at the surface of the skin. This is not caused by shaving, doesn't make it worse, but why a lot of people start shaving is because they're seeing more and more hair, and that can be hormonal, and it could be from things like polycystic ovary, being on testosterone, being on birth control pill, or of course the hormones in our food. More on that later, because one of these gals was on testosterone patches. I know a lot of you are on those, so I have questions about them. Let's move on. Okay, so the number one reason that people, and these two gals wanted to do it, is for anti-aging, and they were using the hot bath water, the mineral water, from 2,000 meters below the surface of the ground is where this hot bath water comes from, and it is infused with minerals and all kinds of healing power. You feel much better when you come out. Maybe it's a cold dunking, maybe it's the hot baths, but shaving with it, they thought made them look younger. In fact, they were early 40s. They did look in their late 20s. So whatever they're doing is working, but does the shaving do it? Well, the shaving, and I'll tell you how at the end of this video, I'll give you tips if you want to do this. But yes, I think it makes people look younger, particularly, obviously a lot of men shave, but women don't naturally shave. But what does it do? It is exfoliation. Okay, so it preps the skin for what happens after you shave. You apply your skincare products. So it physically exfoliates, gets rid of oil and impurities on the skin. I really think that after shaving, you get increased absorption of your active products. That's why I always say you want to be on a top-rated skincare. You want to know where your ingredients are coming from. It costs a lot of money to get real ingredients. When you shave, if you haven't shaved, for men will tell you, when you shave and then what happens, you apply your skincare, you get a little tingling, a little stinging, depending on what you're using. You know you've prepped the skin. And I think that leads to one of the reasons why a lot of people say, you guys will tell me, it's not fair, men age better than women. You say that all the time, and I think shaving is one of the factors. Of course, testosterone hormones play a role, and men typically don't get that big dive of estrogen loss at a certain point, mainly in the mid-40s to mid-50s. Now, how do I know that you get absorption? Well, I did a whole video on sunscreens, and one of the reasons many of you don't want to use sunscreens, particularly chemical sunscreens, is because it has been shown and proven to be found in the bloodstream after people apply sunscreen, and that freaks a lot of you out. Now, I do have a complete video on that, and I will link that at the end of this video so you can watch that. But we know the skin is one of the best places if you want to absorb active products. So your skincare is absorbed. How you set that up is absolutely key. Now, there is, over here, I saw another kind of a hint. This might be a terminal hint because you might get it when you see that area, exactly where I'm at. Up these steps here, that is the Roman bath I'm visiting this morning before I fly out. I can take a train first and then I fly out later on tonight. So I'm up early because I wanted to check that. That's a pure Roman bath. Now you can't take pictures because you can't wear clothes in these places, but I'll find some B-roll and put in there and show you. They have a huge, large common bath, and then you can rent private rooms for your own bathing experience or small parties. One common myth about laser hair removal is that it will work on not just blonde hair, black hair, but also on gray hair. And it will not, because there's no pigment in gray hair. So if you want to get rid of your hair and you think it's turning gray, do it while it's dark in color. So this is a very famous park in this town. But what did I learn from the sauna master about the clothing and the lack of it in these hot baths? Well, there's a lot of etiquette involved, and people wearing the clothes in the water and in the sauna with the heat on the material of the clothing is thought to create chemicals, create impurities in the water, and it's very poor etiquette. That's one of the main reasons. And every 20 to 30 minutes, especially in the saunas, people came in to add, the sauna master would come in and add plant extracts, and in fact would take roots and stems of trees, pour water over them to extract all the goodness from different plants like eucalyptus and various other ones in the sauna. So wearing the clothes and having any type of chemical or chemical conversion within that heat, and it was hot. The cold dunks unfortunately weren't as cold as I would have liked. They were around 58 degrees. I like 52, 55. More on that in upcoming videos. I do have a complete video on cold dunking and the benefits. And in fact, one of the things we're doing now is measuring testosterone levels on those who are cold dunking 2 to 3 times a week over 6 to 8 weeks to see what happens, but a lot of benefits. Look at that. Can you see that sign behind me? I like that. Together is my favorite place to be. Check that out. Now, can you see the beautiful forest in the back? That's a clue. There's a beautiful church, a steeple, and a forest that is very famous here. But you're going to ask me, why not just do microdermabrasion? Well, I like microdermabrasion before peels. So what do we do before chemical peel? Microdermabrasion, make the skin acidic with acetone, and that will double the effectiveness of a peel, because now you have prep, acidity, and a peel. With microdermabrasion, however, you're getting suction, and a lot of people can get reds and vessels and rosacea that gets worse if you use the suction of the microderm. So I like microderm. You got to be careful with it. I did do a complete video on reds, vessels in the face, and how to remove them. So if you've had microderms, if you've had redness on the face, if you have broken capillaries, you want to watch that video. I'll link that at the end as well. Check out the beautiful steeples. Gorgeous town. Now there's a beautiful stream running right through this town. I told you there's hot springs and bath waters coming up all over the town. And in fact, in 1100, the town was resurrected. Started in 200 AD. And in 1100 AD, the town was resurrected, but they kept these Roman themes. Now, another hint here, there's a very famous river to the south of this town. So we're linking it up with a famous forest and a famous river. I'm going in here. I'm going to grab a little morning cafe. So what are some tips if you're going to shave? Well, look at the light coming on that building back there. Just gorgeous. So if you're going to shave, you want to use a straight single blade. Some people use like a dermaplaning blade. These gals had actual shavers, and they were using what is a slip? Very interesting, non-cross-linked hyaluronic acid. Now, the other thing is you want to go with the grain, not against the grain. Of course, they were using these hot mineral bath water, then they were cold dunking. So they were sealing the face with cold water afterwards. And you also want to rinse the shaver after each stroke and keep the skin just a little bit taut while you're shaving. You don't want to shave against the grain, and you don't want to do double strokes, because what happens when the hair follicle, when you shave and then the hair is cut too close to the skin, it retracts, you get ingrown hairs. And that's what they said. One of the gals that used to get it done and come with them was getting acne and skin irritation from it. If you have extremely sensitive and dry skin, you probably don't want to do this, at least on a regular basis. Check out the beautiful food in this coffee shop. I don't know if you can see back there. All kinds of coffee, pastries. My favorite, German cheesecake. Check it out. Beautiful church in the background and view here this morning. The city's waking up. Remember, the comments below are absolutely key. We all learn from them. I want this to be our channel, not my channel, so we can all learn and share best practices together. Are you shaving your face? What are you using? Are you using any slip, or are you dry shaving? You're now going to want to watch this video on chemical sunscreens and this one up here on the single most important exercise you can do. Keep your skin and body beautiful, healthy, and vibrant.